beautiful day riding a retro Benelli Imperiale 400 single cylinder motorcycle straight out of the 50s, and yet with all the modern conveniences, disc brakes, and it's not a bad looking thing. Got the old style gauges. The good thing about it, you've got a petrol gauge and a gear indicator for the 5-speed gearbox. A nice firm but reassuring seat. And big silencer. You could almost be stepping out of the 50s. So it's kind of back to the future. Really nice looking machine though. Well, good morning YouTubers. We should have been testing the Leoncino Benelli this morning, but unfortunately they sold a demo, so here we are on a bit of retro, the Benelli Imperiale 400. Now, it's a single cylinder machine styled after the Benelli Moto B of the 1950s. It's a real hoot to ride with its single cylinder 400cc engine and masses of power, 20 horsepower and 26 newton meters of torque. It's a big hoot to ride. I can't say that enough. I've never ridden a bike of this style before. The gear change is lovely and smooth. It's a 5-speed gearbox. It's Euro 4 compliant, so that means it should have ABS. The ride is a little choppy, but I guess that's how the bikes were in the 1950s. But if you just want to be tootling around the country lanes on a Sunday afternoon, what a great little bike to do it on. You feel like you step back in time, sitting on the ironing board of a seat, which is remarkably quite comfortable. It never break records with its acceleration, but it gets along. I don't know what the top speed of this bike is, but I would imagine 65, 70, maybe 80 tops. You really wouldn't want to go faster, because look at today. Beautiful sunshine, beautiful countryside. We're trolling along at about 50 miles an hour, and that's all you need to enjoy motorcycling. But this little bike, you feel like you could be a dispatch rider in World War II, or you could imagine yourself as Lawrence of Arabia, hurtling down the country lanes on his Bruff Superior. All this comes from this little motorcycle, and I can't stop laughing. It's such a hoot. It's got a nice little whistle to the gearbox, but the gearbox is lovely and smooth, there's no getting away from it. The brakes are what we could term as adequate. And if we give it a bit of revs, it will get you up the hill. It's got a very distinctive exhaust note. I think this was originally built to compete with the Royal Enfield 350 in India, so they've got a huge market for this kind of bike there. And I can understand why, because it's not a bad little motorcycle. So let me hit with some facts. This Benelli Imperiale 400 on the road, and get this, will cost you £3,699. Now you can get a pair of little panniers for it, and you need frames to put those on to put your Sunday lunch in, and that'll cost you about £500 roundabout. So for that kind of money, just £400 maybe, or a bit, £4,000, sorry. If it was £400, it would be a cracking little steal. You could equip yourself with a nice little fun motorcycle and you could have a great time, like I'm doing right now, riding around the country lanes. I mean, it's got all the instrumentation, it's got a nice rev counter on it, it's even got a fuel gauge. BMW Scrambler didn't have that. It's got a nice speed. Unfortunately, the kilometres per hour is the predominant numbers, which are larger than the miles per hour, so it takes a bit of getting used to when you're trying to govern your speed. You've got a nice little computer on it. It's got all the basic indicators, hazard warning lights even, and the good thing is you don't have to kickstart it. But it's a nice comfortable riding position. You sat nice and upright. As I say, the ride's firm, but it's great fun. So Jimmy Topping, it's my wife's brother. This would be the bike for you. The mirrors do a good job, they don't vibrate, or the engine gets a little bit, shall we say, buzzy at the top end. When you give it a bit of, open it up a bit, but that's all part of the character of the bike, that big single cylinder engine. And it goes round corners reasonably well. You feel like you're doing 100 miles an hour on it, and you're doing about 40. As I say, I'm laughing all the time because it's such good fun. I mean, if you look around at the quality of the bike, it's quite good. For the money, you would think they'd cut corners, but it really looks well finished. I mean, obviously they're building it to a price, but the quality of it is very, very good for the money. So you won't be disappointed. And for that kind of money, you're on the road. The insurance won't be much, but they'll probably return good miles to the gallon. But the gearbox is a delight. It really is easy to use. I'm in fourth gear and we're going up a slight incline, but it's pulling easily enough. But this is what this bike was made for. Chugging along on a beautiful day on country roads, wind in your face, knees in the breeze, fabulous. I must say thank you to Oral Motorcycle Centre for allowing me to take this Imperiale out today. Thank you to them, and they're the people to see. You want to buy one of these little beauties. It's such a fun bike. I could imagine myself taking this trip to France and just cruising down the back lanes. It would be great fun, stopping at local cafes, nice eateries, beautiful weather. Yes, I could do that. But it's got springs on the seat too, look.
Oh,
That's why it's probably quite comfortable. I've just been doing a what-o, Johnny.